Real fans of boxing are looking at this name in excitement and awe. He doesn't make the most popular edits and headlines, but he holds one of the most impressive records in boxing history, with the glorious reign as champion to boot. This is Terence "Bud" Crawford, a true artist in the ring and the undefeated 3-belt welterweight world champion. His knockouts have shocked and amazed the boxing world in equal measure, owing to how beautifully and how smoothly he's delivered them consistently. It simply can't be questioned that he's one of the best to ever grace the sport. The question is, just how good is he? With retirement soon on the horizon after beating Errol Spence Jr. to an inch of his life, just a few more fights remain for him to amaze the world again. Today, we'll be taking a look at his successful career and discuss just how good he is. Early career. Crawford's unique boxing talents were beginning to show themselves very early on during his amateur career. As an amateur, he defeated future world champions Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia, making clear that he was to have a bright future ahead of him as a professional boxer. He was the gold medalist at the 2006 National POW Championships, 2006 Blue and Gold National Championships, and 2007 U.S. Pan American Game Box-Offs to round off an illustrious amateur career. Crawford made his professional debut on March 14, 2008, knocking out Brian Cummings in the first round. He compiled a record of 19-0, with 15 wins by way of knockout against largely unheralded opposition. But such opposition gave him the opportunity to have the free space to craft his fight game slowly. Such efforts and experience paid off in his first notable bout against Breidis Prescott, on the undercard of the second fight between Brandon Rios and Mike Alvarado. His fight against Prescott went all 10 rounds, as a relatively close back and forth, but it was him who managed to outpace Prescott and land the better shots. The upgrade in skills following his experience fighting Prescott would show itself in the following match against Alejandro Sanabria for the WBO NABO belt. He sent Sanabria to the canvas and out of the fight in the 6th round by TKO. This made it possible for him to contend for the WBO lightweight title by fighting the experienced Ricky Burns. This fight against Burns tested both contenders thoroughly. Yet again, however, Crawford proved to be the more capable boxer in such a contest, winning via unanimous decision. On March 1, 2014, Crawford then defended his title via a thorough beatdown of Yuriorkis Gamboa, having knocked him down 3 times in the 12-round fight and eventually forcing him to give up in the 9th round. It was brutal and impressive, having served its purpose well in finally putting Terence Crawford on the map. From there onwards, there was no turning back. More and more difficult opponents would be coming for him. He had to evolve or die. Prime. Crawford truly came into his own from 2015 onwards, starting with the defeat of Thomas Dulorme that year. He began his rise towards the unification of his lightweight belts. Defeating Dulorme gave him the WBO super lightweight belt, and one successful defense after another quickly paved the way for him to fight and defeat Viskar Postol the next year to capture the WBC belt. Within relatively short succession and further defenses in 2017, he had the most important match of his career up until that point. It was for the additional WBA and IBF belts, and standing in his way was Julius Ndongo of Namibia. Ndongo was expected to give him the toughest fight of his life, all things considered, and yet Crawford knocked him out in round 3 to claim a shocking victory. At the age of 29, he became the unified champion of the lightweight division. And this was just the first step. He took the decision to go up to welterweight and set himself on the path to becoming an undisputed world champion yet again. He began his journey by defeating Jeff Horn in 2018, soundly in Las Vegas. Spectators were amazed by his display of ever-increasing light-footedness and complete control of the ring, something that many suspected would have come to a weakness left open for Horn to exploit. The cast of opponents he came up against were the best of the welterweight division, and he made short work of them all. In short order, he defended his title from the formidable and aggressive Jose Benavidez Jr. expertly on October 13, 2018. Crawford defended his WBO welterweight title. It was his fight against Amir Khan the next year on April 20, 2019. Crawford defended his WBO welterweight title that would count as one of the more high-profile matches of his career, as Amir Khan was very much on his way out and the fight was among his last hurrahs. Unfortunately, it had to end on a sour note for Khan, as he left the ring via 6th-round TKO. Crawford knocked him to the floor dizzy on the very first round and continued to batter him with his trademark accurate punching and counter-punching until he could fight no more. It would take 4 more tough defenses of the belt until December 2022, when he was finally granted the chance to unify all his welterweight belts in one go by fighting Errol Spence Jr. For the welterweight division, what went down was one of the most important fights in its history. By this time, Crawford had been aging too. He had to bring out all the stops in order to win this, and he did. Both fighters started cautiously, feeling each other out. After a slow start, Crawford unleashed his arsenal. In the second round, he landed a counter jab followed by a powerful left straight, sending Spence to the canvas for the first time. Crawford's famous laser-like jab disrupted Spence's rhythm repeatedly. The jab was truly beginning to cause damage physically and mentally from the third round onwards. But Spence was no slouch either. Despite being knocked down twice in the seventh round, Spence continued to fight back, searching desperately for a shot that could turn the tides decisively. But it was never to come. By the ninth round, Crawford's relentless assault had Spence reeling. The referee stopped it at 2 minutes 32 seconds of the frame, having had enough of the beatdown. With this fight, Crawford has proven himself a legend, as only legends could pull off the feat he pulled off, becoming the undisputed and unified champion twice in 2 distinct weight classes. To top it off, he went from lighter to heavier, and did it all with a highly energetic and stamina-heavy fighting style. Strengths. Terence Crawford is widely accepted to be one of the most complete and skillful boxers currently active. If it were possible to grant a PhD in boxing knowledge, as it is applied practically, Crawford would have been the man to hold it. On top of his energetic presence and overall being an all-rounder, Terence Crawford's most distinct boxing element is his ability to adapt his game plan as per the situation. He adjusts his movements, speed, and the entire pace of the bout better than most. He's also capable of switch hitting, which rounds up his vast arsenal of skills for this purpose. Crawford can change his stance from being a southpaw to orthodox within a fight and can deliver powerful hits that debilitate his opponents from both stances. He makes the switch in some of the most critical moments of the fight, which confuses and frustrates his opponents. It works particularly well against formidable brawlers and power punchers, as this manages to create openings for his offense. Crawford won't activate his brawler mode, something that he can do beautifully if it's not necessary. Since he has the skills to boot, his superior footwork allows him to step away from his opponent's offense and counters, thereby enabling him to effectively land his own counters. It's this counterpunching ability, which is considered crucial to many of his iconic knockout victories, catching opponents mid-combo and giving them a rude awakening. It always has a habit of coming around to this, as Crawford's exceptional boxing IQ allows him to outthink and outmaneuver his opponents in the ring. Sometimes it seems as if he doesn't need any defense apart from relying on his superior footwork and stamina to stay well outside of the opponent's punching range. At any moment, Crawford uses a jab as a distraction and follows it up with the right hook to the body and a dissecting uppercut. Weaknesses. It certainly took a very long time for Terence Crawford to build up his fighting skills. It's a monumental feat, and since it didn't happen in one day, he was the most at risk during his early years as an amateur and the beginning of his professional boxing career. He kept his guard down in a loose manner and moved around the ring linearly before he slowly developed the kind of ring IQ and control that he became known for later. It was not surprising to see him take hits directly to the head that threatened to knock him out. But he kept going and maintained his impressive undefeated streak all the way from 2008. It's hard to find a weakness that could be zeroed onto him, as no fighter has proven to be able to exploit his weaknesses enough to make it stand out. His reliance on switch hitting may come to mind, however, but Crawford has managed to avoid being predictable and prevented opponents from taking him by surprise. He's yet to face anyone that could outbox him at close range and keep him there to guide him to a defeat. Jeff Horn and Jose Benavidez Jr. both have come close to catching him when he pivots to let loose a flurry of hooks and uppercuts, without solid results other than staggering him at different isolated points. Other than that, it's hard to talk about glaring weaknesses in his fight game. Terence Crawford stands out as a true force of nature in boxing. He's not only one of the most entertaining and interesting fighters to watch, but within any weight class, he's one of the most skillful and among the most refined. Crawford is boxing at his pinnacle, a testament to how intricately good one can truly get in this sport of punching the ghost out of another person. You only need to look at his impressive undefeated record as proof, having soundly defeated some of the best boxers around. But what do you think? Do you agree with this assessment? Are there things that we've missed? Comment down below. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.